Hello and welcome to the third week of June gardening tour. Let's go in and see what's going on in the garden. Right off the bat, before I forget to tell y'all, these are the sunflowers. Still going strong, and some of them are drying out. So what I did to mark them so that they can dry out and I know which ones which colors. As you'll see, we have, there's a good example of it, the little bungee zip ties that we put on them in different colors. Wanted a cheap way to mark the stems of the red flowers and the stems of the yellow flowers, so when I save my seeds after they dry out next year, I would know which ones are which. So the colored zip ties and just know what color you've got what is a great way to do that. Let's see, I've got tons of them drying out. I would not know that those are my red ones, except they've got a pink zip tie on them. So when I pull them out, I'll put them in a bag that says those will be the red multi-stems. Let's see, we've done a little work in the garden. It's been very hot. For about the last month, we've had a couple afternoons of rain showers, and other than that, this is all having to be hand watered. And you can see the cucumbers are doing awesome, except for the part where it's getting a lot of sun and doesn't have shade on it, and then you can see they're starting to dry up. But that's all right. Excuse me. We've gotten a lot of cucumbers out of those beds. Here's an overview of the rest of it. That cardboard that's on the ground, I'm letting a spot dry out because I want to put a flower patch in. Okay, bring y'all back around here so we can get started. We ended up spending a few hours out here a couple days ago trimming and cleaning the plants up. We haven't got to mow in here yet. It's been very hot. Our afternoon heat indexes are now over 100. So it's just an hour or two in the morning, as much as you can stand out here trying to get stuff cleaned up and then watered and harvested. You can see we still have some zucchini going strong. This is a lot thinner. And last time on one of the videos I was telling y'all about, oh, I see some good zucchini over here. I was telling y'all how you gotta watch for snakes, especially when your plants start getting really bushy. When I ended the video, I went to leave the garden and there was a snake hiding right there, except it was a lot bushier then. So be careful where you walk and what's in your garden with you. Always be aware of that. So a few more in there that we need to pick. But the cool thing is we spent 2 days ago, I'll give y'all a sneak peek on our total harvest for the month, even though it's not time yet. We spent an hour and a half to 2 hours out here the other day cleaning up and trimming up the garden. This is just some of that on there. The discoloration is disease. See all this mildew looking on that cucumber? That's normal. It's just the heat, and cucumbers do that. It's just becoming that time of year, but they're about done for the spring session anyway. There's a few more in there, but we got so many vegetables out of the garden. We had cucumbers, peppers, which my peppers are starting to come in. Cucumbers, peppers, zucchini, and cherry tomatoes. I got 2 slicers, but they weren't completely ripe. I just went ahead and brought them in anyway. And with so much of it, we decided we would weigh it. And there's cucumber up there, and then one up there on the top. See that shadow? That's cucumbers. We have to watch out for that now too. But we ended up pulling 20 pounds of food out of here. And basically one day. We had picked a little bit of it the day before that was added to the scale, but it was pretty much one day. So, I mean, that's in itself is more than I pulled out the garden all of last year with the drought we had and how bad the bugs were. There's the pepper looking tomatoes. Those are I never can remember the names of this stuff. Korean longs. And those have been pretty cool. And the funny thing with these is, doesn't matter how much water I give them, they look like they're sagging and a little dried out. But now that we've been so much drier, they actually aren't sagging as much and as dried out looking as some of the other plants in the garden. And this is completely filled in enough that I don't go in there unless I'm having to check the back of the cucumber vine, which I'm seeing some in there that are going to need to be picked here probably today. And then throughout the week I'll have some more coming in with these little ones. Let's go this way. Excuse me. That was the walking on the pink stuff down there. Let's see, it looks like this heat will also get some pretty good size ones growing in there pretty quick, which is cool. I've processed a lot of cucumbers into different types of pickles. We've eaten a bunch of them fresh. I froze a bunch of them, and then we gave another good patch to our neighbors. And this is the peppers. Look at this. Remember how we were talking on one of the videos about the peppers growing at different sizes, even though you're giving them the same stuff as far as food and water? They're catching up to the big one now and becoming quite peppery in there, which is exciting. A lot of them I won't let grow too much bigger than that, because then the bugs start getting it before we can, and you can eat them at that size, so it's no big deal for that. I've never actually let my peppers go to orange or red. I just get sweet peppers so you can eat them at any stage, because then you'll have less chance of actually being able to harvest before the bugs and the critters get them. This is a cucumber growing out behind the tomatoes. Oh, and let's see if we can get in there, because I see a cucumber down there. See that cucumber? And it's growing different than the other cucumbers as far as, see how long the stem is on it before it actually becomes a cucumber. It's awesome. The tomatoes are on the ground, or the tomatoes that had the bug bites and problems when we were cleaning up our tomato plants. I always just drop them on the ground underneath the garden bed. The bugs can eat on those if they want, and then they ripen on the ground and dissolve, and that gives you a good chance of getting volunteers for the next year. It is, I'm going to have to get in here and pick some more tomatoes, which is awesome, because these are the ones that have just ripened in the last couple of days. So I'll pull a lot of those off. But we came in here, didn't do this spot as much because it might not look like it on camera, but there's a lot of airflow still in that section. But as far as this section, let me scoot back. We probably took half of the extra leaves off of these tomatoes to get some more airflow in there with our humidity. And I also discovered we have another armyworm issue, and they had eaten a lot of the leaves, and we got a lot of them off when we were in there. So that was disappointing, but it is what it is. Excited when those big giant ones start turning. Picked a couple of slicers out here that were just starting to turn red, and put them by, what I do is I bring them in the house and I put them by ripe tomatoes, so that the ripe tomatoes will help ripen up the other tomatoes. See, there's some more down there. Yep, I'm definitely gonna have to get in here and harvest again. We'll do that when we finish our video. That's awesome. And then see some back there. There's some more. I was watching two videos actually. I watched one a while back. Look how pretty these pepper-shaped tomatoes are doing. They're not as big as they're supposed to be, but they sure are pretty. Survivor Self-Sufficient Me. The guy from Australia, he's pretty cool. If you haven't seen his channel, he's a gardening channel. he took tons, and I mean tons, of cherry tomatoes and used them to make sauce with. You just need so much in pounds that it took a lot of them. So if I have an overrun of those, I'll see about doing that or some salsa with them. I'll just freeze them till I have enough, and then turn them into spaghetti sauce and chopped tomatoes to can. Oh, there's another red one. Yay, my husband's going to be so happy. He loves tomatoes. All the slicers were at his request so he could have fresh tomatoes, which I like them too. He just really likes them. Look at all the tomatoes in there, all the cherry tomatoes. So cool. And this is our, well, dwarf rainbows is what they were called, cherry tomatoes. They are getting quite, well, the plant is getting quite big. And you can see in there, so far they've been a cool purpley color. They taste like a regular cherry tomato though, but they're pretty. And these plants last year got a couple feet tall and just died off from the heat and the drought. So I tried it again this year and they're doing pretty good. So this is the pepper circle bed. That circle bed, I never could get anything to grow in it. So I guess the heat was already too bad. I couldn't keep enough water in it. So I'm going to have to do some more amendment to that bed. And I'll try again in the fall. It's too late here to plant more for summer. And I already have okra planted. And that's probably one of the few things that'll grow here in our heat and over the next few months. We're also deciding how we're going to do, if we're going to do a shade structure over these tomatoes, since it's getting so hot so early. So I'll probably end up topping the tomatoes to get them back underneath that structure, and I'll have to go in there and figure out how to put a shade structure up there. I have to figure out something that looks half decent, but more importantly, it's got to hold up to a storm, because we get tropical storms and hurricanes. So we'll be working on that. Sorry about the background noises. It's, like I said, it's been really hot, so everybody's trying to get yard work done in the morning while we can still be out. Zinnias are looking awesome. And these are the giant Marconis. I picked a few of them off already. And I had one that was bigger than my hand that I showed y'all. And y'all, the back of it was rotten from a bug or something. See it down there? I just put it on the ground. Maybe it'll ripen and the seeds will go to seed right there. That would be awesome if that happens. So I'm going to have to start picking these before the bugs get them. Speaking of bugs, there's one right there on that pepper. But they're still hanging in there and doing good. These are my bell peppers growing in, and I've just been picking them off about half the size you get at the store. I'm just chopping it all up and processing it anyway. I'll dehydrate all that. So we have fresh peppers all year. I find that there's a lot of stuff that does really great in the dehydrator, and then you can just put it in a sealed jar on the counter and use it as you need it after you condition it for a week. So I do that with peppers, with onions, celery, zucchini, lots of zucchini. And then it'll rehydrate. We'll use it in stews basically in the winter, so it'll have plenty of chance to rehydrate. So that's not that big a deal. Let's go over here and check out this watermelon patch. And they're all looking like they need a little help. Very yellow. Well, they're like a lime green color, bright green color. But that is the zucchini Brampkate. And I don't know if they're actually gonna be able to survive with our heat. I might have to replant them in fall or late August for fall. But we'll see. I'll let them try. This bed has the okra in it, has pumpkins and watermelon, and sunflowers. I've just been watering them and feeding them. They're still kind of stunned, but we'll leave them. Y'all, I want to throw some flower seeds in here so bad, but if we don't start getting rain, seeds are not going to come up with how dry we've been. So we'll just have to wait and see. Been working on raking up leaves in another part of the yard under the oak trees to get leaves put in here as mulch to try to keep it more water retention. Y'all, I started doing that last year. I have pulled so many baby oak trees out of my garden this year, it's ridiculous. But it gives you free mulch, so, and I got a weed anyway, so it's not that big a deal. Alright, I've got about an hour's worth of watering to do, and I've got to get some stuff harvested, and today's heat index is supposed to be 105, so I got to get busy babying this garden to try to keep it going as long as I can. And like I said, here usually July and August is, I don't know, kind of like the South's winter because it's too hot for a lot of stuff to grow, but then we can grow all through the winter. Not this stuff, but there's stuff that will grow here, a lot of stuff, and it's much easier gardening then because you don't have as much bug pressure. Thank y'all for watching Gardening Hacks. I hope y'all have a great day, and we'll see you next week. Thank you.